Hello everyone, Teacher here, and welcome back to another video. I've been in the Q&A with the devs, which was really exciting, and I have some news on glyphs, and I can't wait to show you. Now do remember, it's subject to change, but if you're ready, let's take a closer look. So again, let's start off here. Everything subject to change, that is a given. This is not final, it is close to, however, so the devs have said so, subject to change, but expect what we see that this is pretty much how it's gonna be. So, how to get glyphs? Well, there are multiple ways for you to actually get glyphs. You get it in the in-game free chest that you get every 4th hour, so make sure you collect those. You should be doing that already. They are farmable in light and shadow hard nodes, so they are very acquirable there. They are roughly around the same drop chance as a character shard, so that's pretty okay, like it's not that bad. And you can get them in raids, probably from personal score. And then you will also be able to buy them in store. Now, apparently, we might be able to buy them in a raid store. Not really sure where we could buy it. Maybe we could also buy it in the normal supply store. It hasn't really been 100% determined yet. Again, subject to change. I really want to mention that. But there is a ton of different ways for us to get glyphs. Now, here we have some info actually. And again, subject to change. All values are subject to change. This is what it costs for you to level up a glyph. The gold is actually pretty manageable. Like, this is what everyone here should be able to get. And again, level 2 to 5, you get your secondary stats revealed. You will get 4 stats revealed out of many different ones, so that is pretty good. And it is like that is health, that is damage, armor, focus, resistance, crit chance, crit damage, block chance, block mitigation, and speed. So those are the ones that you have a chance to roll. Now we got to see a really cool example of how this works in-game, like you roll it and then right below there is an actual slider that shows you the potential of what it actually got. So you don't need to sit there and calculate. The game will actually show you how good are the stats. And it doesn't cost that much to upgrade, honestly. 5,400, and then you have your secondary stats revealed, and then you can basically sell it again, get 2,070 gold back, so you basically only spend 3,400. This is really positive. I cannot stress that enough. Now then we have the spells here. These are from raids that you will be able to collect these. As you can see, we have enchantment up until gear tier 8. That is basically also the free to play, so we should assume that is a very free to play friendly way to get that. So that is pretty good. I mean, will be guild and personal rewards, so everyone should be able to get that. Then the illusion, which is the second tier to gear 9, is gonna be probably a little bit more difficult to get. Personal reward track in the raids, I would assume we're gonna be talking after Gandalf shards maybe, because we do see a big gap there, so that could be a place where they're gonna add them. And that's pretty interesting, honestly, and I feel that would make a lot of sense to add it there, because we do see the big gaps, so there's nothing really to chase for people. But adding the illusions in there would actually give you something to chase. We're gonna come back to how it influences raid later in this PowerPoint. And yeah, then sorcery is probably gonna be the very end game stuff. Like personal track should probably unlock it, and then I would feel pretty safe. Like, again, subject to change, but it's gonna require mithril raid currency, so that's pretty good. I mean, it is the end game, so it's in my mind very reasonable that they have something, a carrot dangling at the end of the road, like light at the end of the tunnel. And in this case, it's not a Balrog that has awoken from its slumber. It is actually sorcery scrolls. And we only need 4, so we can expect them to be pretty hard, but it's okay. And speaking of the stats, like based on what I saw, here, those 4 stats that you get rolled here are also the same 4 stats from 7 to 10 that gets rolled again. So if you roll 4 stats here that you do not like, then sell the glyph, get a new one out. They are gonna be they sound like they should be relatively fast to acquire. And then you can re-roll and say, okay, now I have the 4 secondary stats that I really like. So again, this is not going to be a gold swallowing pit for us as we might have feared, but it is more manageable, so that's pretty nice. Here we have the primary stats, which is pretty awesome. These are flat stats. Again, values are subject to change. I cannot stress that enough. And you cannot see the last 2, but we're going to do like this. Focus and resistance are the same all the way, and they start at 87. So we should expect that most people can get to here. So that is 2,500 health. That is, it's not a lot, but it's okay. Like, it can make the difference in difficulty 4s for some squads, so I'll take it very, very much. Now, the damage, on the other hand, like Gear 9 is what relatively free to play can get to, because again, as I've mentioned in a video before, free to play can get Gear 9. They have to spend gems instead of doing other things with their gems, and it will take time, but you can get there. Almost 300 flat damage is actually not bad, and you get 300 armor. But the really interesting thing for me, focus and resistance, this is very, very high. And let's just go with the gear tier 8. Like, remember, primary stats are tied to gear tier, so if you're gear tier 7, you are, and even though the glyph is actually leveled to 8 or 9, you will only be able to get the stats for level 7. So there is that. And 300 or even 400 is really, really good. Like, this is going to help us with the cave troll. It's going to help a lot of squads. I'm already thinking Haradrim. And the resistance, that's going to help us in a chapter 3 and also a chapter 4 resisting Bane. So overall, I'm really, really positive seeing that this is a flat that you get added, and it's actually something that is worth it. Some people would probably say, I wanted more, I wanted double. I really like this. 500 focus is not bad. Then we're going to look at the secondary stats. So we're going to go through them here. Again, subject to change. You might get tired of hearing me saying it, but it is subject to change. So health, damage, armor, focus, resistance. For some reason, speed in the middle of it. I would have probably put speed at the bottom. Crit damage, block mitigation, crit chance, block chance. So health is the secondary stats, and overall, like, this is max possible when considering all 6 glyphs on a character. So you could probably get 30% additional health. Like, this, it just takes and actually adds 30% health. It doesn't multiply, it's additive, and CG has actually put out a post about this. I will leave it down, a link down in the description, so you can actually go see there. Like, they made it available themselves with some Q&A answers and info, so you can check it out there. Armor 60% is pretty awesome. Focus and resistance, I might have expected 45%, honestly. Speed 45. Again, this is a max, so it's pretty nice. And so you could basically say a glyph is rolling 1.5, then it's rolling again later down the line, then it's rolling 1.5 again. Then you would have a perfect glyph with speed. Now, what is really interesting, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, that is crit damage and crit chance and block chance, especially block for that chapter 3, and crit damage for the Balrog and crit chance for the cave troll. This is really, really amazing, because again, this gets added. So every character has 10% flat crit chance. That's just how it is. So some characters can actually go above 100% crit chance. That's pretty awesome. So if you have some squads that can only gain deadly, this can now help you. So again, this should really make Haradrim shine in a chapter 2, but it does depend on the focus when we get a buff difficulty 3 in a raid. So, but overall, this is amazing. Gondor and other squads with the block chance, that's really amazing. So here we get the values. Again, they're additive. So crit, other stats, they can go above 100. Turn meter, that is something in case you get a turn meter from, let's say, the... Ooh, I actually forgot what it was, the secondary, the minor set. But where if you kill an enemy, you get 30% turn meter. And what the devs explained is that if you kill, let's say, Elladan AoE, and you kill with you kill 4 characters with his AoE, that would give you 120% turn meter. So that would put you, if another character had like 100 and or 99.9 and they were to take their turn right after you, then you would jump ahead of them and be counted as having 100 and being ready to take your turn. The extra 20%, they're lost. They don't carry over to the next one. You just get your priority in the queue, so to speak. Then you take your turn. Then the next turn you start, you come back with 0. So it's a way to get an extra turn, and I really like the sound of that. And before we move into the summon units, you are probably wondering what's going on there. The way that glyphs are designed is you should be focusing on your major set, then you should be focusing on your primary stats, and then you should be focusing on your secondary stats. So you want the set bonuses, then the primary stats, and then the secondary stats. Probably we will find a way to make a different priority system, but that is what the devs have told us. Like, that is their thought process, and I really like it because a major set bonus should feel major. So summoned units, they get primary and secondary stats added to them. That is absolutely massive. Like, that is really, really massive. Then that you can get stats on summoned units. That means Nuras and Eomer, they will actually be pretty great for all of this. Sorry for the Steam pop-up. But yeah, this is really amazing. Like, or at least like, I'm not totally sure, again, subject to change, if the secondary stats were added, but primary stats at least are added. I might have said that as far as I was told, secondary stats are as well, so that should be what happens. But again, subject to change. Maybe we'll only get primary stats, but at the moment, it is also with secondary stats. So, and that is based on the info that we got. So, and we are allowed to share this info, which is, again, I really like this communication from CG. It is amazing, and yeah, it's just overall really great. And then we just take it from there. So then we have the filter sort, and you can only sort for the time being. You cannot filter, but you can sort by one of the secondary stats, basically. So if you want to find your glyphs with block chance, then you can actually get them. You can also save to some extent your favorite sets for a character. Let's say Lord Elrond, and you want something specific, then you can click that you prefer a major and a minor set for him, and then you can exit the character and enter back in, and that will be those that is shown first. So if you were to swap your glyphs around from characters, now that will cost some gold, but again, that is pretty good. And then you would actually be able to get your like, you don't have to go sort again. It's really cool. It looks amazing, and I feel everyone will, or vast majority will actually like it. And then one more thing, capacity, because we were told we would have a limited amount. For capacity, we get 500 basic, so that's pretty good. And considering we have glyphs that can be moved around, we have some characters, 25 for 5 raid squads and for raid, for PvP if we do get the multi PvP. Nothing was mentioned about that, it was just purely glyphs. But that's a big roster where you can swap around and have specific sets. Like you can have glyph sets for chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 and still have space. But additionally to the 500 that everyone gets space, every character per level 25 grants you an additional 6 into your capacity. So you could get to, I believe, around 844-ish, I believe. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of glyphs. So we won't be, or we shouldn't be worrying about how many can we save? Do we need to sell? Are we gonna be put in a tough situation? Because everyone, you can see your secondary stats, and then you can say, is it a rune I want to keep? Yes or no, or you can keep until you get a better one. So that was really, really great. And again, the devs did mention this several times. Glyphs are meant to be easily accessible for everyone, so I really like that. And then, of course, as you move along, you get more glyphs and you get more unlocks. So it's really, really nice. I really, really like it. So that's really amazing. And here we come to, for me, the most exciting thing, and that is something that I was really focusing on in the Q&A. Raids. Glyphs are not exhausted, so if you do have the time, then you can take your glyph set from, let's say, your Rivendell, that is your main squad, and you want to do well with them, then you can take that after they are exhausted and you submit the score. Then you can take the glyphs and add them to your second raid team, and they can use them again. This is massive. I cannot understate that. This is something that should make, in certain chapters, difficulty 4 available across the board, like we have seen. For instance, chapter 3, I believe with the speed and everything that we are getting, I believe there should be a way to do difficulty 4 reasonably well for teams, especially for a Rivendell team, because the speed and with the immunity trick, etc. And also for chapter 1, I think maybe Rivendell and a few other teams could do difficulty 5. Now again, and the devs did stress this, it's of course depends on your playstyle. I don't think we should expect it on auto, but also like your synergy and min-maxing things, and you should have good runes, glyphs specifically for that. So specific glyphs with a good roll, high level, should be able to actually increase your chapter difficulty score with, from what I was told, or we were told, any squad, like if you have a high level set of glyphs, let's say gear 8, then you should be able to go 1 difficulty up. Now maybe it doesn't work on all squads in all chapters, but overall as a baseline it's really interesting to hear, and I cannot wait for everyone to play around with it and go farm this. And this also, speaking of farming the glyphs, I feel for me personally, this is not something we will be stuck with doing endlessly for months upon months upon months, because they are not exhausted. So the fact that we have to spend regular energy to farm them, I am cheerful about this, or I'm more positive, because once we have them farmed and we have the glyphs we want, then basically the only reason you need to go back in is to try to really, really min-max roll for the perfect glyphs, which of course could take you some time, but again, there were multiple ways of us to actually get them. They're farmable, raid, store, in-game chests, so we will be getting glyphs in a bunch of different ways, and that is something that I feel is just amazing. Again, here you can see what you need for gold. it's okay. Like some people, of course, will complain, say, but why don't we get everything back? We get more back than I thought we would. We get around 20 to 25% back. That's okay for selling it. Almost 30% in some situations. And the primary stats, again, they're really, really nice, especially for gear tier 8 and above. Like, this is where we really get into it. Like, of course, those who spend money will be able to unlock that 9 and 10 faster, and that will give you some amazing stuff. Now, again, primary stats are for tied to gear level, but secondary stats you can use. So, and again, as you can see, multiple ways, and I want to mention it again, subject to change. But here, speed 45 for a maximum value for 6 glyphs. So the speed fear that was out there, I hope is alleviated, because this shouldn't break the game as much as some might have feared. And again, I really want to highlight for chapter 3 the block chance, and for chapter 2 and 4 we have the crit chance and crit damage, so that's really nice. And then we have some resistance as well, and overall health, so that's really, really nice. Now, a few other things. For example, when you go into Arena, you will be able to see the set bonus that a character has when you click on it, and you can see their actives, their passives, and granted. You will be able to see the set bonus. You won't actually be able to see the stats of the glyphs. And I'm not sure, but it didn't sound like you could actually see it before fighting someone. But who knows, maybe Arena has been revamped at that point. So that is pretty okay. And yeah, overall, I just really liked this. They were really communicative, and they were answering the questions really, really well. So overall, it was nice. One thing to note: true damage from withering. Uh, the true damage that you do to a character, the 15%, that is based on the attacker's damage stat. So 15% of that doesn't calculate the HP of your opponent. So you would want that on the high damage dealers like Legolas, Elrohir, Bolg, Gruher, Eomer, and so on. So that should be really, really interesting to get around and play with, and we'll take it from there. So that was it, everyone, from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I will make a link down in the description so you can read through what CG has put out and you can check it out yourselves. I'm pretty sure Swag will also do a video, and we know Swag, so you should always go check out his videos as well. He might cover something else other than me. Like for me, I am just really, really happy to hear like this was my big focus. The raid, the fact that they are not exhausted when you have used the glyphs on one set, then you can actually reuse them, and you will be able to spend a little bit of gold on that. And I feel that is worth it, honestly. So, and you should be able to up your scores, and that means everyone, even at the, like, if you're not level 60 yet, you should be able to help increase your score overall and help your guild, and then you could get to chest 3 and eventually the chest 4 that everyone wants for that 15 Gandalf shots. I hope we have it in DK Crew before glyphs come out, but otherwise I'm sure glyphs is what will secure it for us, and then it's a future fun challenge to get beyond chest 4. So thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by. Drop a comment down below. Anything you are still wondering about, leave a like, and make sure you check out the posts from CG themselves. And I'll see you all in the next video.